Let's go!
Probably the best in the league.
Yeah, that's what they say. Top 3. Yeah, right up there.
It's the Sittin Sportside podcast, exclusively on 1045theteam.com.
And welcome into the podcast. I'm Eric Hammond along with Matt Hogan here on 1045theteam.com. And we're going to come to you not too far away from our last show, more on a regular date.
Yeah, this is more our normal date of the week.
And the reason, we could have kept it on our new schedule, but I kind of wanted to start a new show this week because of the fact if we had just waited to do this on Saturday, it would have been too close, so we couldn't have our listeners listen to our predictions of what's coming up this weekend for the NBA All-Star game. I wanted to give them enough time to listen, you know?
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't
be courteous, because I know people want to hear us talk about the NBA All-Star weekend. One of the better weekends in the NBA season.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm not really a big All-Star fan. There's nothing, you know what it is? There's just nothing to it. There's no goal. There's no, if you win, you get this. You know, I'm more for the skills challenge, the three-point contest, and the dunk contest.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Hogan,
that's
part of the weekend.
Well, I'm just saying, the game itself is pretty much just, I don't care.
It's a highlight reel in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
no?
You get to see some cool dunks, some cool shots. That's about it.
You get to see, well, this year may be a little more interesting with the Durant Westbrook saga.
Well, we get to see a snubbed player not playing, starting in the All-Star game.
Well, can you really call a player snubbed? I mean, yes. I know I agree with it. Everything you're probably going to rebuttal with this, but can you really call a player snubbed that did make the All-Star team? Even
yes.
He's still on the team.
Yes, absolutely. He has the best numbers in the NBA right now, and he's not a starter for the West. I don't understand. I mean, I get why that happened.
Yeah, you
but
understand.
I just think it's idiotic that the fans voted that way, and that's basically it.
If I remember, you're on record as saying,
"Oh, here we go."
Oh, well, if you didn't vote, that's your fault.
Yeah.
So, did you vote?
I did not. So yeah, it's a slap in the face.
Using your own point against you.
Yep, you did. And I wish I could have voted now.
I don't think it's that big a deal in the grand scheme of things.
Well, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I just think it's wrong.
Westbrook's not going to care about that enough, I don't think.
I don't know. He looks like he tries really hard in that All-Star game.
Well, he's just a try-hard guy.
I think he'll probably come home with the MVP.
He already won an MVP before, so I wouldn't be surprised if it happened again.
He'll probably do it again.
But I think there's this sense of you have to start the game in order to be considered the cream of the crop All-Star. Well, we know that's not true at this point.
No, I guess not. But it is kind of symbolic, like you.
But it's kind of changing. We know who he is. We know what he's been doing. If you pay attention to the NBA, you know it's
as Russell Westbrook. Don't you think
statistical player this year?
If you were Russell Westbrook, now let me throw this at you. You're Russell Westbrook. You're sitting there on the bench to start the game, and you're thinking to yourself, "Man, what could I have done more to become the starter in this game? I have better numbers than him. I have better numbers than him."
You want me to answer that?
Yeah.
He could have been, I don't know, I think I'm going to go 15 pounds. He could have been 15 pounds lighter and been a little bit more relatable so that the little kids, were more relatable with him like they are with Steph Curry. Or maybe be a better three-point shooter. That's the answer to the question.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Steph Curry is this relatable player, yet he's the same height as Russell Westbrook. But Westbrook just happens to have a lot more muscle on him.
And he's more of they're different style of player.
Different style of player. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? They kind of paint this Steph Curry as, he's a superstar, but he's an everyday guy. Yeah. But I guess Russell Westbrook is the same height as him. I mean, if you're just giving it all about height, maybe because he looks like a baby.
Yeah.
And I guess like it too. Oh, what?
I guess as a kid though too, you're right. Like you want to see like Curry doing like
I don't have to hit the gym. I don't have to hit the gym as long as I just start chucking threes.
If I could shoot a half-court shot and like hit it like 3 out of 4 times, man, I'm awesome.
If I could do something that no one in the NBA has ever done in the history of the NBA, just like this guy, well, yeah.
Why not?
I kind of fall. I don't know if I can't. If I had to talk to my younger me, I wonder what I would say. But the more mature where I am now, I kind of respect the LeBron Jameses of the world, the ones who are physical specimens now.
Yeah, you have
more
to.
than because when I look at Steph Curry, I'm like, man, my God, that could have been me.
Yeah.
Not that you can't take anything away from Steph and how great he has been. Obviously,
no, it's just rare to see somebody at that stature.
Right. And it's just, I don't find it. I think if I find it relatable, it's more of a, man, I dropped the ball when I was a kid. I could have done more with my life.
Shooting out there,
yeah,
every single day.
Which I guess in that regard, definitely got to give it shout out the respect to Steph Curry and whatnot. But that was the big reason. I think he's got little kids. He's probably the most popular player.
Nice. Yeah, I'd say so.
Among the generation
probably
right now.
Him, LeBron, and I guess maybe Durant.
I'm just talking about the younger generation.
No, I know. I'm just thinking. Yeah, I guess Curry would probably be the most.
Now, let me ask you this question before we get into our slam dunk and three-point contest. That's the only two we're really talking about. I mean, we can predict who's going to win the East or West. But here's my last question. LaMarcus Aldridge spoke out today about how they're, only 3 or 4 games out of the Golden State Warriors, yet they only have the one All-Star and Kawhi Leonard. While the Warriors have 4, and Draymond Green, yeah, his numbers are great. I think that so my first one would be, I guess I just answered it there. If one of those 4 did not make it, who shouldn't have made it for the Warriors? A. B, do you see this as, what are your thoughts on LaMarcus Aldridge's comments? And do you see it as himself saying that he got snubbed or just an overall observation?
I think it goes, but I think Aldridge is kind of feeling snubbed maybe. And then I also think it's an outside chance and a rare chance, but it could also be fuel. He's trying to fuel up the Spurs, like, we're 3 games out. They
just lost to the Knicks.
We just lost in a weird day. Like a snowstorm, basically.
The first Sunday without football.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, maybe it's a way to motivate the team in a different fashion, But
I see where he's coming from. I mean, yes, they're all great players, but at what point do you say, all right, so this guy is like the guy on his team, but yet
it depends like how they were.
Like, that's not what his point was. His point was, we're the Spurs. We're second in the West. We only have 1. They're the first, and we're barely even behind them, really. But they have 4.
It could also be taking a shot.
I'm saying, what about a guy, and I have to get the roster ahead of me, but what about a guy who's like the man on his team that might have similar numbers to, and probably better numbers? And I know Draymond's got really good averages across the board. He came up with the first triple-double without having 10-plus points and his selfish teammates.
How many steals do he have? 11?
Yeah, 11. 1 away from the record. I'm just kidding with the selfish part of the teammates, but if they get him, let him at 6 more points, he could have had a quadruple-double. But I think that Draymond's numbers aren't necessarily all-star worthy if we're doing it based on numbers. Am I wrong there? I mean, even Clay probably couldn't even make the argument that there's someone better than him.
I'm more against Clay than I am Draymond.
Is it more of a Draymond's role? Like Clay's role is the same as Durant and Curry, just does it at a lesser extent?
I guess so, yeah. That'd be a fair point because it's the truth of the matter. He does it to a lesser extent than Durant and Curry because they're the superstars and he's a star. That's the way I look at it. So I guess if I had to take one of the players out, it would be Thompson out of those 4 players. Yeah,
Damian Lillard got snubbed.
Yeah, which was kind of surprising too.
Even Mike Conley, I guess, could be because he's just got a snub.
Yeah, he's having a good season this year too.
So I guess from the forward perspective, there might not be anyone to replace Draymond. But I see it with LaMarcus Aldridge, and I don't know. Isn't it kind of Spurs' way though? Not to have that many All-Stars?
Yeah, that's a Spurs way.
I mean, it was basically Duncan and maybe Parker, but
the best analogy, it's the Hoosiers of basketball.
Right.
The old, 4 passes.
You don't need the All-Stars. You just got to go out there and win games.
You need to make 4 passes every, possession.
Mm.
It's just like that. I don't know. It's just like that kind of mentality, like team. There's not like the one guy. It never has been. Even with Duncan in his prime and Tony Parker, they still all came together as a team. Like, you still remember the Berries. You know what I mean? It's
right.
That whole team.
Quickly, we don't know who's going to, or do we? I don't think they announced anyone yet to replace Kevin Love in the All-Star game.
No, I don't.
So
as of now, not yet.
That would be interesting. That's something that will be dated by the time some of you listen to this podcast. But let's move right into 3-point. This is where everyone came in to listen for. Our predictions for the 2 most important, if you will, competitions this weekend. Even more important than the All-Star game itself, as you kind of mentioned. Kind of put that out there. So, Klay Thompson won this thing last year over his teammate, Steph Curry. Steph did not re-enter this, but Klay did. Along with Eric Gordon.
To defend it.
Yes, exactly. Along with Eric Gordon of Houston Rockets, a grudge match with Kyrie Irving Kyle Lowry, Wesley Matthews of the Mavericks, C.J. McCollum, Kemba Walker, and Nick Young of the LA Lakers.
I know who I'm picking.
I actually know who I'm picking too. I feel like I mean, I don't want to pick Klay Thompson again. I think that he probably will win it again, but I want to pick a different player. But go ahead.
I'm going Kemba Walker. I think he's going to catch fire. He's not underrated, but he's
Kyrie won this too, I believe.
2 years ago or 3 years ago?
3 years ago. I believe Steph was 2 years ago and Klay was last year.
Okay. I'm going to go Kemba Walker, though. I think he's got a good enough chances out of any one of them to take down Thompson this year for, stop him from repeating. And he's just a fun player to watch. So I'm excited to see him in the three-point contest. I think he's going to catch fire, and I think he's going to win it.
Yeah, Kyrie won this, believe it or not, we just say 3? So 4 years ago.
Wow.
Marco Bellinelli, then...
Marco Bellinelli.
I believe he was he? I don't. He was
Chicago?
on the Spurs. He was on the Spurs.
He was on the Spurs at that point.
Yeah, I wanted to say because he was in New Orleans. I wanted to say he was on the Hornets or the Pelicans, but
yeah,
he was at one point, not at that point. Yeah, I think my dark horse, or the guy I want to pick, I guess in the end, is C.J. McCollum, the Portland Trailblazers. I think he's a guy that maybe you don't know about.
Yeah,
he can shoot
under the radar, big time
under the radar, and I think maybe even I think that he could be more of a leader than Damian Lillard.
Well, there's been criticism. I mean, I think we talked about it early on our podcast that there's been questions about Damian Lillard's actual, leadership as the point guard there. So I could totally see it.
I think it's going to be good. Final 3, I would probably put Kemba, along with CJ McCollum, my winner pick, Klay and Kyrie.
Yeah.
And those are the two people who are going to be watching. Everyone's going to be like, oh, they're going to win. And then CJ just going to come in and swoop it up.
Unless Kemba does.
Yeah, probably. Unless Kemba does. Yeah, of course. All right, so on to the more, I guess, influential. And this was going to be different for me because last year was the first year I watched this with someone who did not watch this. Last year, the All-Star Weekend happened to fall on Valentine's Day weekend. As it usually kind of does. There was a funny story on Robin Lundberg and Mike Gold Jr. in the morning, 4 to 6. They're on 4 to 6. I think it's called First and Last. Funny story that like Robin Lundberg didn't know that Valentine's Day was today because he usually says that it's usually All-Star Weekend. It drops a bit. Long story short, for me, last year, my sister got married, and she married a British man. So his family came over, and they witnessed the dunk contest for the first time, and it was really fun to watch. So they got a lot, especially because it was a great matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if we had a lackluster matchup, maybe they'd be like, this is kind of cool. But it was really good matchup between Levine and Gordon. They loved it. They ate that up. And it's going to be hard for me to top this year because how good it was last year. And then watching it with the audience that I was watching with, I don't think I can top that.
Without the audience, it's going to be different. But I do think this has the potential to be a really
Do you have
good one.
any issue, and this is the question floating around. Do you have any issue with Derrick Jones Jr., who hasn't really played much in the NBA this year? He's signed on the Suns, obviously, but he's played a lot of his time in the D-League. Do you have any problem with him being picked for this?
I'm going to say no because it's a skills challenge. I get why some people might, though. It's because it's an honor.
It's
an
never
honor,
been
right?
something that you need to be like for the home run derby. It used to be you needed to be an all-star. And that's not the same anymore.
No.
But if you're not an all-star, you're usually a guy who's got 25 plus home runs who just didn't happen to make the all-star team at that point. Dunk contest has never really been like that. It's been a guy who's just a lot of times you see rookies on this. And
I was going to say
he's a rookie. A lot of times you see like when Terrence Ross was on it, when DeMar DeRozan was on it the first time. DeMar DeRozan wasn't DeMar DeRozan of he is now. He was a young kid that people didn't really know about when he was first on.
We don't really see like the big time players.
No, I mean Jeremy
anymore.
Evans. Is anyone where the heck is he now?
Yeah.
Exactly. So
can I say though, real quick before we just speaking about last year, I think Aaron Gordon did get screwed over a little bit.
Yeah, I have my own little rant on that.
I thought Aaron Gordon won that, but
so do you
whatever.
think this one could be, I don't want to say rigged, but kind of more pushed in his favor?
A little pushed in his favor? Maybe.
I'm pretty sure you're right. It's still the judges.
Yeah.
The judges could do whatever the heck they want.
Sometimes, I swear, they just like guess.
I mean, they're former players too.
They're great.
They know it,
but sometimes they're just like, it's when they show their facial reactions, they're like,
Well, Derrick Jones had a nice dunk recently that was on top 10.
And he's going to be my pick.
So, I think you just said Aaron Gordon. Got
No,
robbed
I
last
think he
year,
got
so
screwed last year, but I think Derek Jones Jr. ends up taking it. He slams it so hard. It's like there's something about it. Like after I watched that dunk the other day on ESPN, I went back on YouTube and just typed in Derek Jones Jr. dunks, and like I just start watching.
Yeah, he probably.
And you're just like, oh my god, this dude can straight up fly. So I'm going with him.
like he probably is gonna win.
He's a freak. It'd be DeAndre Jordan. I thought about too. I think this has got his poise.
I was thinking about this recently. I know he's on the Suns, but what if Brandon Knight was used as a prop for DeAndre Jordan? How funny would that be? Would you give skill points?
You have to, just because of what happened to him.
That'd be even funnier, I guess, if Derek Jones did it. Like, so Derek Jones' teammates with him.
Teammate did it.
And so he's like, so he goes and like, maybe he gets a little mic and it's like, this is how you dunk on Brandon Knight, DeAndre. And just like, I don't know.
Poor Brandon Knight. I don't think he wants to be the
I know.
joke to everybody's. Poor guy.
I feel like it'd be a funny way to.
People just started forgetting about it, I feel like.
I thought that'd be pretty funny. The last guy, no, we didn't even mention, Glenn Robinson the third, son of
he got up there too.
Milwaukee Bucks great, Glenn Robinson. Junior, obviously.
Yeah, yep. The third.
But the third, man, I don't know. I want to pick him. I think it's kind of one of those things where everyone knows Aaron Gordon from last year. People know DeAndre Jordan, and people are talking about the kid that they don't really know about, Derek Jones Jr. But then Glenn Robinson's kind of people know maybe if you followed him on those good old days in Michigan. I don't know. I think I could see him kind of coming out of nowhere. But I would say that it seems like it's going to be Aaron Gordon against someone. That's how I think. Yeah. I think it's going to be final round Aaron Gordon against someone. Just kind of seems what it is.
Aaron Gordon, Derek Jones. Those are our picks.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like that. So, I mean, there's a lot more going on in the NBA, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, so not just the All-Star weekend. There's some important, moves that have been made and some movements that we
we saw a trade today.
Yeah, a big one.
Oh, we could talk about that?
Yeah, should we talk about that next?
I don't know if the biggest trade has happened yet. But we can discuss whether you think a bigger trade is going to be made next.
Hey, it's Levac, and I want you to join me this Saturday, 1 to 3, at the Beef Jerky Outlet in Latham. Route 9 in Latham, right across from TD Bank. Over 150 varieties of beef jerky, all kinds of sizes, over 100 hot sauces. You name it, they've got it. If you're a beef jerky enthusiast, which I didn't know we were a group, now I do, and I'm psyched to hang out with you at the Beef Jerky Outlet in Latham. Come hang out this Saturday with big specials, 1 to 3. I'll be there. Come hang out with me. The Beef Jerky Outlet in Latham, Saturday 1 to 3 with 104.5 The Team.
It's the Sitting Sportside podcast, exclusively on 1045theteam.com.
1045theteam.com. I'm Eric Hammond along with Matt Hogan, listening to the Sittin Sportside podcast. NBA trades, man.
Woo!
They're swinging. Every morning I wake up.
About time.
About
time to get on the move, man.
I had a great little reference there. And
I took over.
Every morning I wake up to see if there's a trade in the NBA, and today did not disappoint. I'm not sure it was in the morning, but it happened during the day. We saw Serge Ibaka get traded from the Orlando Magic, who, am I wrong in saying, suspiciously traded for him in the first place last summer.
Very odd move by them last summer, but kind of, in my opinion, it works out.
And got Terrence Ross, who's more of a three, but I mean, kind of similar to Oladipo. And they got a protected first rounder. I don't know if that's true, but
first rounder.
I think it was protected first from Memphis. If I'm wrong. If I could be wrong.
Yeah, I can't recall that, but
you printed out details.
Not specific on the.
But I think it was very peculiar that they traded him in the first place. Traded for him in the first place. Yep. Now, can I ask this question first?
Go ahead.
Terrence Ross for Victor Oladipo. You like that trade for the Magic? With a first rounder?
Yes.
Without the first rounder?
No.
Okay. So interesting. I just thought that would be interesting.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what it ended up being, right?
Pretty much in the end, yeah. They get
more or less
the first rounder, Ross.
Yeah, it's very interesting to think about that. I think this works out well for the Raptors, who kind of realized, hey, we're falling out of this. We used to be the
the threat.
Surefire second seed, the one everyone was talking about. But we're not even going to win our division for the 4th or 5th consecutive year. The Boston Celtics are ahead of us, and we got our butts handed to us by the Wizards, which I obviously been
Wizards are on fire too. But yes, I get what you're saying.
I've been a big component of the Wizards recently. So
have you? Yeah. Kidding.
John Wall.
If you can't, obviously you can't see it, but Eric is now doing the John Wall dance.
Yeah. True 41.
They needed that down low presence, and it works out, I think, for both teams. Like the Orlando Magic, like you said, it was kind of pointless for them to have him in the first place.
I wouldn't say pointless. If they wanted to go in that direction, they could have decided, wait, all right, fine. We traded for him, so let's use him
see
and
what
not
can happen.
Let's get rid of Vucevic. I don't know, move him to this. I know Serge is more of a 4, but you could play him at the 5. I guess it came down to Aaron Gordon, which anybody I'm sure could tell you, anybody isn't a 3. He's more of a 4.
Yeah, he's way more of a 4 than a 3.
And
he's not.
I don't know.
He's not really a threat.
I don't know if they just realized that now after experimenting with it or whatnot, but Terrence Ross, I guess, will fit right into that 3 spot that's opened up now because Gordon's going to move to the 4. Anyone could have told you that Gordon was, I don't know, basically a version of Blake Griffin. Out of Arizona, everyone knew that.
Yeah, he can dunk, can rebound. He's a good scorer.
Kind of shoot now.
But he's improving. But it's almost an identical replicate.
And they signed Bismack as well. Now, obviously, it was just really interesting moves by the Magic. And here they are again. Now we're near the playoffs.
Great place to live, though.
Where does this leave, though, Serge Ibaka? Thunder, obviously they're not going to pick the Magic, but Thunder, Magic, Raptors, is he in the best place for Serge Ibaka?
I think now he is. I mean, just from the standpoint of the Orlando or the Raptors,
right?
The Thunder or the Raptors.
Are the Thunder a better team without Oladipo and with Ibaka? That's
and without Durant.
That was a move I think was to keep Durant. How to keep Durant. I thought that's what that move was made for. I'm not sure they'll ever tell you that.
Part of me wants to say they are better with Oladipo because they have.
To me, I feel like
there. They have.
To me, I would rather see Oladipo not start, and I'll tell you why.
You like him off the bench?
I would let he plays a lot with the second unit, but he's also playing the first. Yeah. Every minute Westbrook's playing before Oladipo starts playing as a leader of the second unit. He's playing that as well. So he comes, by the time he has to take over that offense, he's kind of fatigued himself.
That's more of a coaching.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. I just think that Oladipo should better come off the bench. I think Ibaka had the stretch 4 part. Mm-hmm. Not that he was this great three-point shooter.
And he had the defense.
They have no three-point shooters.
Well, he can shoot the 3. You're right. He's not the greatest, but he can.
He
he's
found
an
his
actual
corner.
threat.
He found his corner.
Yeah.
He can shoot the 3 from
He's
the
a
corner.
great defensive player.
Right?
I could see.
I mean, I'm watching that Thunder Warriors game. Russell's got to play 48 minutes a night because the minute Russell Westbrook came out of that game, and we already know that the Warriors have one of the best benches in the league. Whenever you can put a perennial all-star who's nowhere near an all-star now because of unlimited playtimes like Andre Iguodala and an unselfish player like Sean Livingston on a second unit, you're going to have a hard time against they're going to put numbers against any second unit. But a unit like the Thunders is just too weak without Russell Westbrook. You're going to have to play 48 minutes a night in the playoffs, I think.
Oh, yeah. He
close
has
to it.
He will.
Unless Billy Donovan figures out a way to use Oladipo off the bench, which I kind of obviously am more for now.
Their guard depth is not great.
Cameron Payne, I want to say he could have made a step in his second year out of Murray State, but he had an injury, so he wasn't able to really develop throughout the year, and now he's just really not that guy
found that
bench.
role. Hasn't found.
He's
not comfortable.
I mean, they really don't have a veteran presence. I think that's a team that if they need to make a move, I would say they kind of should make a move at this point, bring in a veteran presence. I'm not sure where.
Maybe like Carmelo Anthony.
Do you think they'd be able to pull that off?
No,
I don't know.
I don't think they would be able to.
It's a decent segue, though. I appreciate that.
That's interesting, though, isn't it? Like Carmelo Anthony on OKC.
Were we supposed to play a segment?
Yeah, I think we were.
Did we blow this?
No. Let's play it.
Let's just play it anyway.
Let's play it.
Okay.
Remember when Bobby Boucher showed up at halftime and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl, do you?
My God. So good.
You like that?
I love it.
Okay.
Love it.
Now, you might not know what the name of the segment is called, but we'll just call it You Remember.
You remember. That's our segment.
So basically, the premise of this now with Carmelo is we'll be looking back in April, May, even June, saying, you remember when the Knicks didn't make a move and trade Carmelo Anthony? So I guess more or less we'll be looking at the offseason with Melo still on the Knicks. What would we be saying? Do you remember when the Knicks stayed pat?
Yeah. So I think he does get traded. I think both sides, it's like a collision course, and it's like, who's going to last longer? Who's going to give in first? You know what I mean? Is it going to be Phil, or is it going to be Carmelo? Is Carmelo finally just going to waive that no trade clause and say, I will go here, expand the amount of teams he'll go to? Will they ask for less in return? Because his best chance was probably Cleveland for Kevin Love, but obviously Cleveland wasn't.
Yeah, but the Knicks could still do it.
And they could still pull it off.
Even with an injured Love.
Yeah, I just don't know if Cleveland wants to do it.
I think it was one of those things where any other night Frank Isola comes out with that report.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest news, and it's, this is probably going to happen. But he picks the night. And remember, we were talking about the Wizards. Not that I want, I'm going to toot my own horn here. You can look back on the past podcast. When we were talking about the Wizards, we were talking about, what's the worst matchup for the Wizards against the Cavs? We said, I don't know if Marquise Morris can play against with Kevin Love. And guess what? Kevin Love did very, very well against
absolutely
the Wizards.
Demolished him.
And it just so happened that Frank Isola, that trash reporter, from the New York Daily News.
Oh, wow. Wow. Call him a trash reporter?
Oh, did you not follow LeBron's comments after the game?
I mean, I did, but, it's coming out of your words now. I mean,
I was using quotes, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm quoting
we were
LeBron
in quotes.
James.
Oh, okay.
Quoting
All right.
LeBron James,
okay,
man.
okay. Just making,
Come on. If he'd done that not during the game, where Kevin Love just absolutely went off and basically led them to a win. Not only that, he made an amazing pass to LeBron James, who made a lucky shot.
Oh, wow.
It was lucky. Come on.
The bank?
Did he call bank? Oh, he called game. pull that up on you.
Hey, you know what? Whatever it takes to get in the hoop, right?
No, yeah, I agree.
No, but it was pretty.
There's some degree of
I
luck.
don't think he was aiming for the backboard though either. So
I'm a big Russell Westbrook fan. I think a lot of things sometimes he does it could be luck.
oh yeah,
When they get the lucky rolls. I mean, yes, there's talent to get it there, but
yeah.
but still.
So
I think that that trade has more validation if that doesn't come out during a game where Kevin Love has the game that he has.
oh yeah,
I think it's the right move for both sides.
you
Only
think
because
Cleveland needs that third scorer?
Well, let me ask you this. The Golden State Warriors did not match up. He was not a good matchup for the Golden State Warriors. Right? He didn't play as much in that finals. And they had to, go without him to win that title. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're basically,
So what I'm
which you
saying
should
is
be
they're
is
a different team now.
you're preparing for that matchup already.
Right. And they're, when we get to picking the times, then
I want to say you can. I probably would pick those two, obviously. But does that matchup now present a problem for the Celtics or a problem for the Raptors, or is it something now that's now Carmelo's there, we can actually win here instead? You know what I mean? Is there one of those teams where maybe the Celtics are sitting there saying, we'd love to see Carmelo go there? Do you think that's
I don't really know how Melo fits. I just think that it's not going to be the end of the world if Melo replaces Kevin Love, because he's LeBron gosh darn James, and he'll figure out a way to win with no matter.
How great
who
would
he
that
has.
be if Carmelo won a championship on LeBron's back?
Well,
I mean, he would help out big time.
okay, let me put yourself in Melo's shoes. Do you want to be sitting back like Bobby Boucher saying, "Remember when I won a championship being carried by LeBron James"? Or would you rather not win one at all? I'd say, remember when I didn't win a championship?
Yeah,
Would you rather reminisce about 03?
go both ways?
But really, no. What is your answer to that?
Well, Carmelo obviously loves New York.
Right.
He loves the city. He loves the big market. Obviously, Cleveland, you don't have a big market, even though you're the Cavaliers, one of the most well-known teams in the league.
At this point, yeah.
But, yeah, I think he's content on staying in a big market area, to be honest with you. I think he'd be okay going to Cleveland, but I'm just saying, I think I'm getting a little sidetracked.
You said you think he's going to get traded.
I do.
So where do you think he's going to get traded? If you want to stay in a big market, it's going to have to be LA, right?
It would have to be LA. It would have to be the Clippers. The Clippers would have to somehow work out a deal. And way before, when they first started talking about a trade, they needed a third partner to work it out. So I still think it gets done. I think he goes to the Clippers.
All right, so if you are any team other than the the Brooklyn Nets.
Wow, there we go. Third try is a charm.
They were the New York Nets at one point.
Yep.
And then they were New Jersey, when I first started liking them. I don't know what happened there, but probably because their record just kind of muddying the brain.
Yeah.
With the state of affairs
at that
in
point,
Brooklyn is
if
very.
you can remember on the third try,
they
happy.
deserved that. Okay.
Yeah, they
deserved that.
They'd be happy with one fan remembering on the third try at least.
Are the other 29 teams though going to be sitting back saying, "Remember when Bobby Boucher?" No, and the Mud Dogs the Burn Bowl. Remember when we didn't give up 2 first-round picks for Brook Lopez? Or do you think somebody is going to pay 2? Basically, is Brook Lopez worth the 2 first-round picks that the Nets are desperately coveting from one team?
No, I don't think so. It'd have to be like a team that's right there, like already right there, and they just want to add.
Like Golden State?
Yeah. Honestly, at this
point,
point,
are they saving those first-round picks?
Golden State should.
I don't know where the Nets stand if they're getting 2 from Golden State, but
if that was to happen and they were able to sneak that out, I don't know.
So there's like these new rules where you have to have a first-round pick in one year. Correct me if I'm wrong. So if you don't have a first-round pick in 2017, you have to have your 2018 pick first-rounder.
So could you trade a 17 and 19?
You could. I just don't know how far in advance. At this point, how far in advance can you trade picks?
I'm not even sure. That's
another thing I'm not even sure about. But basically, if they have 2 that they can trade, do you think the Nets would take that deal?
Yeah, I think the Nets would. I think the Nets would do it in a heartbeat.
2 picks that are 30th most likely, or 28th or 29?
Because there's no value of having Brook Lopez on your team anymore.
Right.
You're not going to win. He's not a game.
Does
he's
he
not
fit in
a
Golden
career
State
changer.
Is the next question.
I think anyone does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an upgrade at center.
But he's a guy who does most. He's not a great rebounder. I mean, we all know that. Ask me to defend Brook Lopez Brook Lopez rebounding. I will.
Well,
you're not going to ask me.
So I'm going to ask you to defend Brook Lopez.
Yeah, but
if
you look strictly at numbers,
yep,
his rebounding isn't great. So compare that to JaVale McGee. What he's bringing to them now, what Zaza is he really that big of an upgrade, especially because he has to have the ball in his hand? You already have 3 other guys who need the ball in their hands. Not to mention Draymond Green needs the ball in his hands as well
I think he does, because you have to now account for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you're game planning.
He added the 3 to his game for sure. So Kenny Atkinson made sure he did.
That's what I mean.
Not that it's worked at all, but
you have to account now.
4 wins. I mean, when you put wins in the equation.
When you put wins. But when you have to account, so right now when you face the Warriors, you account for all 4, right? You probably have like a priority Durant, Curry.
I know why God sits there, because this is a perfect. I could sit down here. When you're sitting on the other side, I can't sit down.
You gotta stand over and you gotta look over.
I usually don't sit. I actually like standing up, but today I'm just feeling.
Yeah, this
fatigued.
is a nice spot. So I just took Gaz's chair basically, where he sits when he does the show.
I'm sorry.
You were
mid-thought. I just kind of had a revelation. I'm sitting right now, and this is kind of
comfortable.
The first time I've ever felt comfortable sitting down,
nice and relaxed
on a podcast. I don't know.
All right, back to my point.
Our listeners should
back
know
to
that.
my point. You prioritize who you need to stop: Curry, Durant, Thompson, Green. Now you have Lopez in there. You can't just leave Lopez alone. You know what I mean? They probably, I would guess, and I haven't watched enough games closely, but I'm going to guess they hedge a lot when it comes to who's ever guarding the center is going to hedge a little bit and help out on defense a little more, give that center a little leeway, whoever's in the game, McGee or not. At that point, you still probably do it, but now you have a bigger threat to score in Lopez. So if they could pull off that,
it would be another option. I mean,
insane.
How many more options do you need? But still,
I guess whatever you want.
If Lopez is a guy who would definitely just accept the 3 touches a game. And
can we credit Steve for this at all, or Kerr for this? Like, is he the reason why they're able to do this? Like, ever since he got there,
know.
they were able to, like, I don't know. I was just thinking about it today.
Well, if you want to give him credit for realizing how much stock to put in Draymond Green and then Andre Iguodala off the bench.
Well, I got to imagine it's got to be hard to manage, like, to get players to come in and say, like, a guy like Durant, say, hey, we already have
But
three
that's kind of what
stars.
Durant's mentality was, and I feel like it's more of the others. Because listen, it's kind of ironic, and I'm watching that game. I'm sitting there like this guy literally said the first minute he was in Golden State, oh, they're so unselfish here. Yet I know he turns the ball over, at an unfortunate clip if you're Russell Westbrook, but the guy I saw passing the most in that game, at least for the first half, I kind of turned it off after that, was Russell Westbrook. And Kevin Durant, and the reason why they lost to the Warriors, to be quite honest, this is an ISO ball.
Yeah.
He doesn't pass.
No. Why would he?
That's not his number one game.
Yeah.
Passing. So I just thought that was ironic. And I think that to answer your question, though, that's just a side point. To answer your question, I think that it's the whole team kind of buying into it. And I think it's mostly, I have to say,
Sure
a lot of credit to Klay Thompson and even just as much credit to Steph Curry saying, all right, let's step back. We're not going to have as many shots, not going to have as many touches, not going to have many points. And that might mean not as many MVPs if you're Steph Curry.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely, he's overshadowed now.
So I think that your answer is that it is Steve Kerr, I guess, but it's also kind of a lot of the whole team kind of buying into we want to win championships, which you got to give him some credit there.
Yep.
But I don't give him. I don't give Durant.
I give him some credit for it.
I give you credit for wanting to win championships. I just think I still stand by I loved the coward signs in Oklahoma City.
The cowards.
I loved it because it was KD in between our.
Well, the fans, they need to get that anger out.
It's
been
totally deserved.
They've been hurt, and
it's like, oh man, and just go back to that. Not to ramble on here, but you go back to that game, man, and the game 6, Klay Thompson doesn't go off, and Kevin Durant can actually put that game away. Like you can put it on Russell Westbrook too if you want, because he didn't do that great down the stretch in that game. But if Kevin Durant puts that game away, game 6, the Thunder in the finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So it's ironic that you leave a team that you almost made the finals against, not to mention you go to the team you just lost to, A, but B, it was your fault for you didn't win that series. You could have put game 6 away. I'm sorry, I put that on Durant. Like I said, I put it on Westbrook enough, but it was Durant's team, especially if you're the one who cops out. It makes me even more mad at you. It makes me even call you even more of a coward because it was your fault that you did lose, and then you cop out and go to the team you lost to. And it's different too. Like LeBron went to the Miami team. Bosh came from a different team. You already had 3 great players there in Golden State, and the Miami was coming off of really not that great of a year. I mean, D-Wade's had great years in Miami, but he was coming off a bad year in Miami. They were coming off a record-setting. So there's all this stuff. Is why I still have that disdain of Kevin Durant, and I totally am on the side. Part of me wanted them to take the high road, and because there's so much hype around it. Part of me wanted the Thunder fans to take such a big high road and then just not even care.
Yeah, but how could you not?
Yeah, and I'm so for it.
Their hearts
I
were
think
literally
I think they should have booed
out.
more. To be honest,
it's like you take out your girlfriend for dinner on Valentine's Day, and right when you're about to pick her up, you find her with another guy. That's what happened to OKC fans.
Did you want to ask me about Brook Lopez before break or no?
I'm going to add, all right, is Brook Lopez... Can Brook Lopez rebound? Is that what you're still going?
The reason Lopez's rebounds are down, all right?
Okay, let's hear it.
He is one of the best box outers of the league. And one of the most underrated things in basketball, in my personal opinion, especially at the center position, because you have to block out the biggest body in another team, is the box out. So how many times do you see, and if you watch Nets games, which I know a lot of you probably can't even stand, I barely can even stand watching them, but if you ever watch Brook Lopez play basketball, his rebound numbers aren't necessarily that high because he doesn't actually get the rebounds, but what he does do is the intangible of that ever so box out, he has his hands back kind of on the guy, knowing that he's boxing him out, and a lot of times you'll see him box the guy out, but he'll leave his hands there until a teammate gets the rebound. So when people say Brook Lopez can't rebound, I can't disagree with them because the numbers aren't there for me to support that he's a good rebounder. But what I will say is he has the intangibles of a great NBA center of boxing out people and letting his teammates get the rebound. Sometimes you can't really rely on your teammates, but I still think that he's a good enough facilitator, if you will, of a rebounder, even though the numbers don't show that he is a good rebounder.
It's the first time I've ever heard that, a facilitator for a rebounder, but I like where you went with it. I haven't watched enough Nets games to see this, but I'm going to take your word for it because you are a Nets advocate.
Yeah,
even if you forget
this year I haven't watched as much as I had in past, but from what I remember watching recently, and then especially in past years with Brooke, that was a big part of his game.
He's an upgrade for any team in the end. He's
a great offensive center.
Yeah, he's
and
an
people,
upgrade.
like I said, the biggest thing about him is the rebounding.
That's
why I say that maybe it's not as bad as you think.
Speaking of a center that could be an offensive
Juggernaut
is Okafor, right? Or not?
Yeah, man, this is okay. Yeah, what about Jaleel?
Do you think he gets
both
traded?
teams that got tied to Okafor and Lopez, if we're on the subject, are the New Orleans Pelicans?
Yeah, they both have been highly interested.
Now we saw Omer Ashik, and I think he might even still be there. And you have Alexis Ajinça there as well. Why do they feel like they need to really bring in another center for Anthony Davis? I know they want to play with the power forward. I get it. That's cool.
I feel like they're trying to.
But I feel like their experiment already kind of didn't work. I know Ashik is completely different than Lopez. Like Lopez is a scorer, and Okafor is going to be a scorer in his own right. But is that experiment going to work? And if you really want that experiment, I know I love the trade for Jrue Holiday when they did it, but you should have just kept Nerlens Noel.
Yeah, you could have just kept him and see what you had with that.
Exactly.
And, yeah, you could have
Block
both
party.
of them.
That was the big thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess with Noel, he's more of a defensive player. I don't know. It feels like they're trying to fill a void that's like not there.
Yeah.
Like they
The
should be
guard
looking
play.
somewhere else.
I mean, Drew's been good. I mean, Tyreek's hard off the injury, but this leads me to another rant. I could go into
Go
another
ahead.
rant
I want to
right
hear
now.
it. Rant. That should be. We need a segment for that.
All right, so
by the way,
this has just turned into a rant on
full-on
subject
rant, NBA
on subject. Okay, this goes to first things first to bring up a little college basketball. If you like the NBA and you can't really get into college basketball, which I'm not sure I've ever heard of that.
I'm the opposite.
I know. I like both a lot. So I'm hard enough into both. Well, I know there's people like you probably more into college basketball than the other. But if you have a hard time, the team that you follow, if you don't really want to get into college basketball, is Kentucky, right? Because they always going to have those one and dones, and you can follow them in college, and then next year you'll be following them in the NBA.
You can know exactly what they look like. Yeah,
right. So big reason because that John Calipari. If you look at his players in the NBA, the ones that become superstars, like you don't have to talk about the Patrick Pattersons of the world and what Chris Douglas Roberts was. Like these weren't guys that came into the NBA and became stars of their teams. But Derrick Rose, I think the exception is John Wall, but DeMarcus Cousins, add in Anthony Davis. These guys are supposed to be the superstars, but how many of them have won really in the NBA? How many of them have showed the leadership skills? And did we start blaming John Calipari for that?
I don't blame John Calipari, but I do get your point. Maybe they aren't developing that leadership skill that they might develop in college.
Right.
I don't blame John Calipari because
you can't necessarily put the blame on him, is what you're saying.
If that's,
but here's my second. Let me have a follow up on that.
He couldn't
look
stop
at the Michigan State team this year. They are nothing really this year. They're not that great. But Miles Bridges is the best player on that team, hands down. Right? I know you probably have other guys like Tum Tum Nair and other guys who are going to be leaders on that team, but it kind of gives more responsibility to the young freshman Miles Bridges. Put Anthony Davis's team. Well, he had Michael Kidd-Gilchrist as well. DeMarcus Cousins had John Wall to rely on. Eric Bledsoe. They have a lot of the great guys. They don't have to necessarily be the guy and take their responsibility.
Yep.
They get to the NBA and they're putting up the numbers. Like Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, they're putting up ridiculous numbers. They're doing great numbers, but they're not doing it in winning ball games.
Yeah, they're still not getting.
And the biggest thing for the Pelicans for me was firing Monty Williams. I thought that was the dumbest fire. You make the 8th seed and you fire him.
It was kind of
random.
Like
who can get.
They're trying to fill a void that's not there.
Right.
They
had just won many games. They won the championship. Alvin Gentry was there. They kind of it was dumb. But since then, you thought the Pelicans would just go up from there. It's been the opposite. I know he has injury problems, but what's been DeMarcus Cousins' biggest problem? He hasn't been able to win basketball games as number one guy.
I get your point. They could absolutely gain a crucial leadership skill that they might not when it comes to playing at Kentucky when you play with studs all around.
Now we're talking leadership. A lot of leadership has, in the past, if I'm wrong, just correct me, we've seen a lot of good leaders on the New York Yankees.
I thought you were going to say Knicks.
No. But I don't know, Oakley.
Yeah.
By the New York Yankees. Well, they made a signing. I want to say recently, but they made a signing, and we've never touched on it yet on the Sittin Sportside podcast. We'll touch on that and some other baseball moves when we return here on the Sittin Sportside podcast.
Looking for a station that plays the best variety of music from the 80s, 90s, and more? Try Rewind 105.7. Rewind 105.7.
It's the Sitting Sportside podcast, exclusively on 1045theteam.com.
Welcome back to the Sittin Sportside podcast on 1045theteam.com. I'm Eric Hammond.
I'm Matt Hogan.
And we're back to talk a little bit baseball here. Home stretch, if you will.
Yeah, I guess it is. For the Yankees, they're hoping for a lot of people running around home base this year, and they added a piece that might add to that, right?
They added the tied for the NL leader in home runs last year.
Dun, dun, dun. Chris Carter.
Oh, yeah, Chris Carter.
Chris Carter, yep. So, honestly, I think it's a great move. They signed him to a one-year deal, $3 million, I believe. So you only have him for a year. He's playing in a hitter-friendly ballpark. You just got a guy that hit 40-something home runs last year for $3 million.
But where you batting in, brah?
In that lineup, about a fifth.
So he's the everyday DH. So you're telling me right
absolutely.
now.
Absolutely.
He's the everyday DH. You sign Matt Holliday to just
play first.
Play first. Okay, but then Greg Bird gets no shot?
They'll have to work him in.
Work him in. Okay, so Chris Carter might only hit against lefties then? Is that what you're saying? Or Holliday only hits against lefties?
It'll be some kind of rotation. Because, again, Holliday's older.
Is Holliday going to play right field? And therefore Judge might start down low and Aaron Hicks isn't going to get anything? It's
going to be one of those situations. But I do believe Carter plays almost every day.
It's a good situation to have. But the question is, why did they get him so cheap?
Well, not a lot of teams are paying for that big bat anymore. Jose Bautista had trouble finding
money,
a deal.
Though. I know he didn't get it.
But you know, that's
got enough money.
So
$3 million, bro.
That's so-called
That's so
premier.
cheap.
Yeah, that's exactly. But what I'm saying is Jose Bautista came out cheap too, and he's been known as one of the premier power hitting, even with the decline this past season, as he got. You know, the Blue Jays got him on the cheap for 1 year with the player option and team option. So what I'm saying is the market for big-time hitters, the home run hitters.
Yeah, but why
is
there? There's teams out there that did need it. Like, ironically, your point was validated in the Edwin Encarnacion signing, even though it was long-term. It was definitely a lot less money than we expected, but they needed the bat.
Yeah, they got him.
But they needed it, though. All I'm saying
why
is,
are they getting
if
paid?
they didn't get the big bat to replace or keep Napoli, I'm not sure I would guarantee that team to win that division.
I honestly think with all the numbers and all that stuff that's come out now with you know what I mean? I don't think home runs is as important. But I know what you're saying. Like, teams need that power hitter. Like the Indians needed a hitter, a slugger, and they went out and got one. Huh?
What?
What'd you say?
I said tell it to the team that just won the World Series.
The Cubs?
They might have just led the league in home runs. Or up. They didn't lead the league in home runs, but they were up there.
Yeah, but they also, I guess that's a bad point, but they had a collection of people that hit home runs too. You know what I mean?
But are you trying to make my point for me?
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying that this is what happened. The market for free agent power hitters is not fluctuating in the way they desire.
So the Cubs hit the third most.
Who's first and second?
Well, one of them you should know, A, and B. And right. B, only one of them made the playoffs, though. Boston, and then you got Colorado sitting there.
Okay.
That brings me to my point, or not point, to a brain blast, to quote Jimmy Jr. To quote Jimmy Neutron, we need to have a segment called Brain Blast.
Brain Blast?
I just had a brain blast about a segment called Brain Blast that we will debut next week.
Yep.
Woo! Can't wait.
Can't wait.
But the segment I want to bring up is like a sleeper team going in this year. But to finish that point, Cleveland was 5th. That's another playoff team. But yeah, the Cubs and the Red Sox, 2 of the best regular season teams last year, had top 3 home runs.
I mean, it's an all right correlation, but it's nothing. I don't think it's that important anymore.
I don't know. I guess I don't know how to argue with that necessarily.
To say the home runs are that important.
No, but I can't. I just think that's quite the opposite of the day and age we live in baseball.
Yeah, I just don't think.
I don't see that. I don't see that being the case. I think it's the opposite. I think we're looking for guys who hit home runs. The way a lot of these kids approach to their approach to the plate, it's the exact opposite. They want to be the Adam Dunn. They want to be the guy that walks up there and either strikes out, walks, or hits a home run. That's how their approaches are nowadays.
Yeah, but
is that different from the argument you're making?
No. It kind of goes into what I'm saying is that you can find those kind of guys easier. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to find that 295 hitter anymore that hits 35 home runs on a year.
But there was none of those guys out there that got the money. That's
what I mean. Like they're not going to pay though. Like back, I feel like 5 to 10 years ago they would pay that money.
But we're also not talking about Chris Carter, who made a heavy impact on an impact team last year, though.
No, the Brewers.
Edwin's probably the more surprising one, I guess. He's still got good decent enough money. It's not a lot, I guess, as much as we thought. I mean,
yeah, no, I didn't think Cleveland was going to sign him. That was random.
It was big name.
I thought the Red Sox were going to jump in on him for DH, but.
And you might be, I don't know about regretting is the right word, but you might be kind of wishing that they did. I know Hanley wants to DH a lot this year, but I do think that the Red Sox, if they had gotten Edwin.
Oh, it would have been a clear upgrade. Yeah, clearly.
I think we might be sitting here. If we're still doing this podcast in September, I kind of have this feeling that you might be wishing that you signed Edwin Encarnacion.
I don't know. Pablo might just prove us all wrong.
When's the last time Pablo lost a lot of weight and wasn't going to let us down?
Never.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm just messing. But
no, the answer to that question is once, and he put the weight back on. It was in San Francisco. They won the World Series.
But look at him. He was never a home run hitter.
No, it never
was.
Right?
And he got paid big bucks.
Yeah, postseason success. But he had 3 home runs in one World Series game.
Teams pay for
that was a
now.
big reason, though.
Yeah.
I feel like, though,
teams
if he hasn't had 3
that.
home runs and win MVP in 2012, I'm not sure he has this big a pedigree.
Sign that too, but sign players that do that. But that's what happens now. In my opinion, the home run hitter is not as important.
How much money is Bryce Harper getting paid, though?
Oh, my God. Well, however much the Yankees are willing to pay.
But
I don't see another team he goes to.
I know he has the average on a good year for him, obviously not last year, but that's a home run hitter in my opinion.
Yeah, but he's also different, though, because, right, when you sign him...
Is he?
Yes.
Mean, after last
I'll tell you why.
I don't know.
I'll tell you why. How old is he?
Okay, I'll argue that Edwin Encarnacion was fine.
You'll be
talking about age. Okay, I get it. But Edwin Encarnacion, I could argue, was a better player than Bryce Harper was last year.
Yeah, you could.
I know you're doing it for length. I know, but
you're about to sign. If you sign Bryce Harper, though, I feel like it's different because he's going to be in his prime.
It's a win now league, though. I feel like, is it not?
Yeah, Bryce Harper can be win now, win 5 years from now.
Yeah, I get that. So you're saying all these teams are saving money for one guy, and obviously.
No, I'm just saying they're not going to make that deal anymore.
So there's a team out there that probably didn't pay Edwin Encarnacion. Maybe it's the Blue Jays. I mean, they went after Morales right away, so I'm not sure what their whole total plan was. But there's a team out there that might have been saving for Bryce Harper and didn't pay a guy that they could have done to win now.
I don't even know if they're paying for Bryce Harper. What I'm saying is they might move in a different direction.
Manny Machado is another guy they're going after.
They're
saving money for a big draft, a free agent class in a year or two, all right? Isn't that what this is?
I guess so, yeah, because it's going to be a good free agent class. And, Trumbo's off. I mean, Trout's
I think Trumbo,
he's not going to be in there.
That's another thing, though, too, is I think the Trumbo move is to settle, and they might end up regretting it. I think that Trumbo could still do as well as he did with them before, but it could go down as a settle move.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
it was a good move. I commend that one because it was a settle move, but at the same time, they didn't overpay.
No, they got the guy. He had a great season last year. No one was expecting he would do that great. Like, we all knew he had power. I thought Pedro
Alvarez was going to step in and maybe
take over,
do something like that, or at least maybe they would platoon it. But he took over.
No, that was a great signing for them. It's just a hard situation for teams now to dough out
So
that money
I
for
get your
that
point.
stat.
You're saying it's not a home run league anymore. Well, no, you're saying that it's not a home run market anymore because they're so easy to find. But when you have a guy who's proven to hit 41 home runs and just no one even wants to take a shot at him, I think that's a little weird.
No, it's a big number. 41 home runs is not easy to do.
Yeah, and especially because if you're the team that actually gave up on him in the year before, the Houston Astros,
Could have needed
AJ Reed was supposed to be that guy because they're all molded like that, right? Because they're all supposed to come up and do that. Well, they had two guys, AJ Reed and John Singleton. It was supposed to be those guys. They flamed out.
Yep.
You could have kept Chris Carter, and he could have been it as more of the veteran guy. So maybe get up at the win now and let these other guys develop. He had a great year between single A and double A. They thought all of a sudden that, because he put up, when I say monster, they were monster numbers AJ Reed put up in the minor leagues, single A and double A. But that's single A and double A. They did not translate to triple A, and he did not translate to the MLB.
He still has
They
time,
kept Chris
but
Carter.
I see what you're
He still
saying.
has time, I know, but this is a win now league,
I
right?
see what you're saying.
If you're a team that's trying to compete right
It would have
now.
been a better situation last year with Chris Carter.
Right.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Listen, if you get Chris Carter, I guess my point is more towards
I get it. The market out there isn't as high because they're just
because,
quote unquote dime a dozen.
Yeah, I guess so now.
So because Chris Carter hit 41 doesn't mean he's going to. So there's a chance that this guy can hit 30 and Chris Carter, man, he might not even get 30.
Like, you don't want to sign Chris Carter for like big money and then like he only hits 30 because then you actually lose money.
But even at a 1-year deal, I was shocked it was $3 million. I mean, because they're telling me that another team out there wasn't going to be like, you know what? It's only a 1-year deal. Now this time, okay, fine, we'll give him 6 or 7.
Yeah, it was a great deal by the Yankees. They needed
I do expect regression from Sanchez, and I do expect some regression from especially Greg Bird coming off at the end of the season.
Well, yeah,
obviously. Last year. So
but if
it's
they
a good
don't
move for them. And I loved the Matt Holliday move when they made it, but at this point, it's like maybe we shouldn't have done that because that was too much money. I don't want to say too, but in perspective, it is too much money.
Now, I think Matt Holliday's a better fielder though too, so that factored in. But I get what you're saying. Now
He's
at
got
this
more
point,
diversity, I guess.
Yeah, no, he could play more positions.
That's not the word. That's not the word.
He's a better utility.
Utility.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a utility player, but he can play the outfield if you need him to.
Outfield, yeah.
So, what was his money?
Matt Holliday?
Yeah.
Can't think off the top of my head. I believe
$13
it was
million.
around.
So I tell you, like, if the Yankees knew they were going to get Chris Carter for $3 million, did they want to pay that much? Once again, only 1 year.
Did they pay?
Did they pay that? Because now you get that. It's hard to do it in hindsight, but now you have a problem. Like I said, it's not a terrible problem to have, but now you do kind of have a problem because if Greg Bird clicks on all cylinders and Hicks does what you want him to do, like Cashman's expecting Jackie Bradley out of Aaron Hicks. I mean, I don't know if he's expecting that, but he compared him to him. Guy who didn't do that well when he first got the job and then blossomed.
Isn't it awesome as a Yankee fan to finally have a
Clint Frazier?
Isn't it awesome to finally have like that farm system to be excited about? A little off topic.
Yes.
It's got to be exciting, right? Like, I was super excited, like, when the Sox brought up Jackie Bradley, and, like, all you heard about was, like, this guy walks, like, he's got the best eye in baseball. We've never seen it better than that. And then, he sucked for, like, the first year he played. So you were kind of like, what? We got rid of Ellsbury?
Well,
and
the
now
excitement last year
him?
when you bring up Judge and you bring up Austin, they go back-to-back, and then, in their first at-bats of their MLB careers, and then Gary Sanchez does what he does. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement, and then Gleyber Torres goes out and has the Arizona Fall that he has, but I still think there's this sense of, and there's nothing wrong with this if you're Cashman, but it's kind of like he kind of adapts. I won't say too late, but he Moneyball happened. He did his own version of Moneyball, failed.
Yep.
This kind of is the new craze. I can't per se see how this is going to fail now because this is what I've been, all about, the last 5 years, really. I mean, and that seems like a lot, but I feel like it's been that long.
Yeah.
I don't see how this is going to fail necessarily, but it's kind of like that. Is it dumb to criticize someone for adapting? Not necessarily adapting, but criticizing for
leader.
Like, it's kind of like he never has his own idea, right?
Yeah, he's following the leader.
And there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. But it's just kind of like, Cashman, come up with your own stuff here.
Well, it took
instead of like, doing dud signings like Jacoby Ellsbury, which hopefully he pans out finally this year.
God, I don't like how long can he wait on him? But no, I see what you're saying. Follow the leader.
I mean, it's good. What more can you ask of him?
No,
I'm not
he's doing the right thing.
But
He's doing the right thing, in my opinion.
Yep. So Next week, I think it's going to be a big college basketball show. We skipped it this week.
I'm so excited.
So we have a lot to talk about, previewing more of the conference tournaments going into next week. NBA will just be on the hiatus. We'll probably have a little reaction to the All-Star weekend.
Russell Westbrook winning MVP most likely.
Yeah. And I think next week we're going to tease. We have an exciting news. Am I right, Matt Hogan?
I think so.
God, I called you Matt again.
I think so. Well, now
the exciting news is we're going to preview every single division in the Major League Baseball.
Yes, we need to do that.
Pitchers and catchers already reported.
Yep. That's
so
time
it's
of the year.
starting to come around. I would say next week we will reveal our sleeper teams going into spring training. And then the week after that, we can start the.
I think I'm so excited.
So keep your eye posted on 1045theteam.com and check out Hogan's blogs.
Yep, I'll be blogging these podcasts that we do too, so you can find all of our podcasts on the website also.
And you can also find it at youtube.com/team1045. Your favorite team, whether it's the Yankees and the Mets, you're going to have our take on your favorite team coming. I'm super excited. I love talking about it.
Baseball.
This podcast has ended up to be a little bit over an hour. I could see us spending an hour on just one division.
It's my most exciting. It's the most exciting part of the year.
So,
baseball starting, college basketball tournaments almost on its way.
So here's what I'm hearing from you. We're going to have 6 podcasts on each division, and we're going to have 3 podcasts, one on the first rounds of the tournament, then the next round, and then before the Final Four.
Yeah, I have to be.
That's crazy.
Oh, man.
It's going to be great.
Awesome.
So keep your eye out for those. We'll be back next week for one of our final conventional shows, and then we're going to get into the good stuff. So, for Matt Hogan, I'm Eric Hammond. You've been listening to the Sittin Sportside podcast right here on 1045theteam.com. We'll see you next time.
Can't wait.